Welcome back, passive income investors alike. Today, by a popular request comment, actually on one of my YouTube videos, the MedMen breakdown that I did, someone sent me a comment that says, great content, I believe MedMen will be the future of cannabis in the U.S. Hey, can you analyze Golden Leaf Holdings or make a video on it? So I'm going to take your comment suggestion here and actually do a quick overview of Golden Leaf Holdings. Now, I don't own this stock. I'm just looking at a glance from an outsider here. I've done a quick bit of analysis on it, nothing too crazy, but let's just get right into it really quick. We're looking at a company right now trading at 12 cents. Looks like it IPO'd around almost $1, and it's been fairly downhill ever since. With a lot of these smaller kind of cap marijuana companies have kind of fell under the radar, so you might find some golden nuggets of truth in here for some good investments long term. A company here that's worth $73.64 million. It says the same on my trading platform here. And before I get too much into anything, I can't see a whole lot on any of the trading platforms just because, again, it's kind of like an OTC stock. We get a little bit of fundamentals and the key statistics. It's funny because they have like a positive book value, but I think that's just coming from all the money they've been raising to keep this going, because man, their profit margins, their pre-tax margins, the return on assets are just a disaster. And I'm going to break a lot of this down and why I think this is, but let's just look at a few videos first. I think these videos are very helpful to kind of get an understanding of like the CEO and just some of the stuff going on and some opinions. So here's one by BNN, Bloomberg. So let's just take a quick peek at this. Turn the volume up here for you.
I listen forward to what you have to say.
So it's Golden Leaf, and it's on the Canadian Securities Exchange as well.
Right, so it's a U.S. operator. And they've been, as Steve mentioned, they've been in Colorado, or not in Colorado, in Oregon. Mm-hmm. They've had some sort of past issues in the fact that market's very tough. There's an unlimited number of licenses. Mm-hmm. You've seen the price of cannabis dropping, and they had a previous management team that was in place that wasn't very diligent as far as how they spent money. And so the company's had to refinance themselves a few times here now. And the new management team that's taken over are good operators, but what we need to see from them is probably see a couple of quarters of progress and showing that they're heading in the right direction. And we probably need them to sort of generate some cash flow so that they don't have to continue to raise money. When we get
right, so he's said enough there. He's actually done meetings with the owners and stuff, and trying to get capital in there. But it's kind of hard to pull the plug on an unprofitable company. Here's the actual Golden Leaf. I don't know exactly this guy, if he's one of the CEOs or what his position is in Golden Leaf. Okay, so he's the CEO, William Simpson. Okay, so here's a bit of advice from him. I don't like the products they're selling too much, but you can just listen to a quick little tidbit here too.
So we have the Golden line as far as our fruit chews. It's a really popular product. I'll actually show you some here. They're vegan. They're all natural. There's zero artificial flavor or color in these products. We wanted to take a higher road when it came to wholesome foods. A lot of people use cannabis because they have ailments or they're sick. And putting things like high fructose corn syrup or red dye 57 into your body isn't something you want to do when you're healthy, frankly, especially when you're sick. And so we wanted to take that higher road approach to putting out a wholesome product. And so we used real fruit puree. There's, again, zero artificial flavor or color. And people have just been loving them. They've been taking fire. Our biggest issue is we can't actually produce enough of them yet.
Now, I'm not sure what he means by that. We can't produce enough of them. That's such a loaded statement with so many questions to be asked. I don't like these kind of products, guys. I don't think there's a lot of people taking marijuana for health reasons. I'm sure there is a market for it, but most people just smoke pot for the sake of smoking pot. I don't think it has a lot to do with health these days, guys, to be truthfully honest here. I do not like their product lineup, and I'm going to go over that in a little bit, but let's just keep breaking down some stuff here, guys. So when you go on to their website, guys, it's a bit of a navigating system thing here, because their products are based on different websites, and you got to do a lot of looking around to find some of this stuff, which I find a little bit frustrating. But if we look at, it took me a little while to find this, but there's a little bit of a thing here that shows you their actual stores they currently have. The branding's not really great here, guys. They're not overly appealing. I mean, if I was walking down the street, this doesn't really pop out like MedMen does. I mean, MedMen does an incredible job branding their products. These kind of just look like little hole-in-the-wall stores, like smoke shops or something like that. And you'd have to look at the pricing and where these are located if they're in a good foot traffic touristy area. So, I mean, location-wise, you guys can break these down and take a look and see what you guys can figure out with that. I'm not the biggest fan of these storefronts. I'd have to, again, look at the locations. But going into their brands here, guys, and see some of the products they're kind of selling. They're based off these three things, and these three things have their own websites, and they're all completely different. And I'm going to talk about each of them just really briefly here. If you look at the big thing coming out right now, guys, is these tinctures, which is essentially just oils in vaporized pens. I actually have one of these, though they're not even legal in Canada, which is annoying, but they're sold in Canada. I'm going to show you right now. This dispensary is an illegal dispensary here. This is called wholesaleBud.ca, and they usually have a bigger variety of vape pens than this, but they're selling the THC vape pens. These are like disposable ones, but usually they have the ones that are like even refillable, and you can buy your own tincture, am I saying that right? Tinctures from them, guys. They make all kinds of stuff, and this again is a legal dispensary, guys, which I just made about in another video there. But if we actually look at let's go back here, let's look at the actual golden vape thing here. Like, they do a great job with making this look like a great product. The problem is there's just everybody and their grandmother is making oils now. This is old news. It's nothing new. And I don't think this makes too much of a premium product. I wish they'd show the pricing on here, but they kind of force you to find it in one of their stores. So again, why would I try and find it on their stores when I can just order it online? It's kind of annoying that way. And, you know, here's their kind of own little premium dabbable or tincture thing in a pen, same sort of, or in a needle sort of a deal. And then you have their gummies as well, which I'm sure are crazily overpriced. Usually edibles are way overpriced. It's usually just cheaper to make them at home. But this looks like a beautiful piece of a website. It's just that it's its own website, goldenoil.com. Like, why isn't this part of their main website, and why aren't all these products on one website? Why do I kind of got to bounce around to find these? Is kind of frustrating and annoying. And then over here, guys, I was looking at some of their flour products and Girl Scout cookies. I'm not sure if this is their actual bud, if this is just something they're growing. For as long as I've known about marijuana, guys, especially with the illegal stores, the Girl Scout cookies is a really common brand, and it's actually more known as kind of a shittier brand, to be honest. Usually when people are buying weeds, they're looking for like the OG Kushes. You got the prolific weeds like Alaskan Thunderfuck. You've got White Widow. There's like Romulan. There's just so many, like Blueberry. I can just name so many crazy good name brand weeds people just kind of gear toward. And every time I hear about Girl Scout cookies, it usually comes off as a cheaper brand, which I find is odd. It's like they didn't do their due diligence in the global market, or do they own this brand? Or are they just illegally selling it? I don't know. I'm just shocked that they kind of just threw this up here and they don't have anything kind of prolific in the stoner world of things, which is kind of annoying. This is a whole different website. Again, now we're at leftcoastconnections.com. So no idea why these are all completely different companies in the websites in and of themselves that are all selling one product under the same, or products under the same company. I find it very confusing, and it's very frustrating to try and understand. But we're really quickly going to kind of go over their investor presentation here. I had a hard time finding their books, but at least they list a lot of things in here, which are going to help out. So we got some forward-looking statements, and we're just going to scroll through some of the stuff that I've already looked at. Our mission to enhance all lives through cannabis. That's not how it works, guys. You're selling a drug. You want to sell to stoners, to people to get fucked up. You're not trying to enhance lives. You just want to make money off pot, and that's your job. Your job is to make a good product for stoners. I mean, that's all that matters. So here's where I found something really interesting, and this is really going to kind of break down why this company is a long way from profitability, in my opinion. Right now, we can see Oregon and Canada are their only two annual outputs where they have, and it's annoying too that a U.S. company can grow in Canada, but a Canada company can't really grow in the U.S. It's kind of frustrating about that. But if we add these up, guys, we have 2,616 pounds of output. So let me just run some math here. If I can just open up the calculator really quick. I want to show you how you kind of come up with these numbers. So let me bring this over here to make this a little easier. So let's just say we have 2,600 pounds we're growing annually here, okay? So say we have 2,600 pounds. There's 16 ounces to a pound. So we end up with about 41,000 ounces. Now, let's say because the prices have dropped, let's just say we get this at street price at $200 an ounce on average. All right, guys. So if we're growing this at $200 an ounce, I'm just selling the plain weed as it is, 8,320,000. I mean, that's nothing, guys. That's chunk change in this world of marijuana. So I mean, this is a big problem in my opinion, that this is their current output, and this is probably why they have negative book value, because it's just, I mean, you can just run some basic numbers, come up with whatever math you want, but selling $8 million worth of marijuana for a company that's trying to scale and become profitable, paying employees, paying salaries, that's just nothing, guys. So here's Q1 and Q2 of 2018. It looks like we're just slowly getting to those numbers of, you got 3 million. So this is what, Q1 and Q2. So again, we're not even really reaching the base value of this marijuana yet, which is kind of annoying, really. But in 2017, you can kind of see they're struggling a little bit, but they're slowly growing the sales. But again, guys, like, these jumps aren't massive. There's nothing impressive here. This little arrow is kind of funny. They're just like, let's put it at the smallest chart and then just straight it up over the highest one and kind of make it look like our growth is going to be better. Who came up with this stupid little arrow? It needs to be kind of shifted down to over here, and it needs to be slanted down a little bit more toward this angle. But again, their revenue is not anything impressive, especially for the output that they have, guys. Then they're going to tell you a little bit about kind of their priorities or initiatives to expand retail products and cultivation in the top U.S. Canadian jurisdictions. Again, really annoying that they're allowed to do this in Canada, but sure, you know what, if you can get away with it, why not? It's just annoying we can't sell in the U.S. You know, they want revenue growth for outcome, blah, blah, blah. Then we're going to see some of their high-tech crazy pictures here, and I really hate that every company in the world does this. A company that's not profitable says North America market opportunity could be $75 billion by 2027. It's like, yeah, you know, every market could be worth billions of dollars. Cocaine market could be worth billions of dollars. We don't know that though, and we're not actually like appealing to this market yet, guys. It kind of gets my back up a lot, which drives me nuts, because this is all kind of like, it's so hard to quantify, first of all, how big the marijuana market is, and it's also extremely hard to quantify what your market cap is going to be within it, especially with the overwhelming amount of competition. So your market, like right now, you're capitalizing on nothing, and your sales aren't growing fast enough to make these numbers appealing to me at all, guys. So, I mean, don't waste your time bullshitting me with these stupid market opportunities when you don't even know what they are. They're impossible to quantify right now. So we've got the management team. There was William Simpson we just watched telling us that, you know, let's make it healthy to do pot. Let's cater to the tiniest niche market, not the people that just smoke pot for the sake of smoking pot. It's got a long ways to go, guys. They have an incredibly large amount of stock currently available, and clearly a lot of people have been getting rid of that stock, as we can see the massive decline. This would have been an incredible short. If this thing does turn around, it's going to take, I think, a lot of work, a lot of time, and a lot of effort. Where's my presentation here? Let's keep going through this real quick. Is there anything left? Disclaimer, this presentation information purpose does not constitute an offer or solicitation of an offer to purchase the securities referred. Well, no shit. I don't plan on purchasing the security. There are much better options today. Now, when it comes to branding, guys, I don't like companies like this because their branding really sucks. They're just selling products that just aren't appealing. And if they are selling products, they're not proprietary. There's tons of other people selling products like this. But when we go over to a company like Canopy Growth Corp, I really like their marketing strategy because they're trying to do something that gets their name out there. They tried to work with Snoop Dogg. Unfortunately, the Canadian government shut them down. And then, you know, now they're working with Martha Stewart. I love that about that company. That company's doing a good job trying to brand themselves and get their name out there. And I think that's more important than trying to sell some kind of health-conscious marijuana thing when, again, I don't think anyone cares. And if they are health-conscious, they can make their own edibles at home probably for a hell of a lot less than these guys are selling it for. So, I mean, they got to do a lot of work here, guys, especially when we look at a company like MedMen. I've made a video on MedMen in the past. I really suggest you check it out. That was that video that I made right here. We'll go back into here. It was one I made a little while ago. MedMen, I think, is a really good poised company right now. I'm thinking about even picking some shares up in it myself, just because the company, I can't get over, man, it all comes down to branding. I don't think it matters what you're selling. Marijuana will always sell itself. It's just who's going to be on the front lines, and MedMen is definitely one of those companies. I I think their valuations might be a little high still, but at the same time, long-term potential guys, they could stand a chance to survive this, along with some of the bigger guys like Canopy Growth Corp and whatever else. But again, the valuations, in my opinion, are a little high for me to want to be buying. So I still own Canopy, but through Constellation Brands. I don't want to own it directly in case there's some crazy volatility to it or something bad happens over the long term, until they start getting things solidified. It's nice that I can kind of have that cushion of that dividend, owning it through Constellation Brands. Constellation Brands, if you don't know, is one of the largest beer manufacturers. They make Modelo, Corona, and they have some incredible profit margins on beer. And honestly, if you wanted to buy a marijuana stock, because essentially when Constellation Brands, I've said this in the past, but Constellation Brands purchased Canopy around this price. So they bought Canopy up here, and you have to imagine up here when they're sitting around 220, that their market cap was probably sitting closer to somewhere between like 40 and 50 billion dollars. And since then, guys, they've tanked quite a bit, and this has to do with their Canopy purchase. A lot of just, you know, some bad press around them because of this. But because of this tank that's happened here, guys, it's literally knocked out the market cap that they've paid for Canopy. So the money they've lost in market cap was what they paid for Canopy. So if you wanted to buy this company at this market price, you're literally getting what they paid for Canopy Growth Corp for free. It hasn't actually been priced in yet, in my opinion, into this company. So I love Constellation Brands for that reason. You get a dividend, you get exposure to the marijuana and one of the best beer companies on the planet. So, I mean, I love this company, and this is the only way I'm going to get exposure to marijuana, along with MO. MO is another really interesting way because they own Kronos Group, guys, and this is one of the best performing stocks of all time because they have crazy dividend increases, and I think this would be another really healthy way to get exposure to the marijuana market without getting some of the volatility and collecting payments while you wait for those companies to mature. But in the meantime, if I was going to take any risk, guys, I'd keep looking into these small companies. I'm going to do more analysis on other companies like this. Might find a golden nugget hiding in here somewhere, guys, that might start taking off soon. We're looking at those sales, trying to keep analyzing the sales and seeing what company is going to start stealing actual market cap. We'll always keep an eye out, guys, and if you got anything else, let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear it. I love looking into these companies, and maybe we can find a little golden company that's just hiding in the niches that people aren't really aware of, that can make us a lot of money over the long term. So stay cool, guys, stay super awesome, and thanks so much for the subscriber request. I look forward to making a lot more of these, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.